Today I'm here with the founder of Evidence-Based Medicine, Professor Gordon Guyatt. And we're here to talk a little bit about evidence-based medicine applied to hormone therapy in menopause, a very challenging topic. Full disclosure, I am in transition to menopause myself, so this may be perceived as a conflict of interest. Thank you, Gordon, for being here.
My pleasure.
Okay, Gordon, millions of women are going into transition to menopause, and it's super hard to navigate this moment in life where we fear hormones, but we also feel we need it for quality of life. So I wanted you to give us your perspective from the evidence-based medicine perspective, how you look at a particular context, which is, for example, what about estrogen and progesterone to treat cognitive effects of menopause, such as irritability, insomnia, brain fog, things that we don't really have randomized controlled trial data to support us. So how to navigate that?
That's the three principles of evidence-based medicine. Number one, some evidence is more trustworthy than others, and EBM has developed a way of differentiating between the more trustworthy and the less trustworthy. Second, you can't pick and choose your evidence. You've got to have systematic reviews that give a representative sample of the evidence. And number three, evidence itself never tells us what to do. It's evidence in the context of patient values and preferences. So the first thing is, from what you said, I'm no expert, I'm taking your word for it. The evidence in populations, the brain fog, the irritability being reduced by the hormone replacement therapy is low quality evidence. So we don't know that on a population level. However, almost certainly there are individuals who get really important benefit from it, and probably individuals who don't get any benefit at all. So then if a woman tries it and she doesn't feel any better, forget it. We have harms and no benefits. If a woman takes it and feels better, then there's a trade-off. And then it is a value and preference decision. And one woman may say, I feel sufficiently better with this that I'm willing to take the risk of the small increase in breast cancer or venous thromboembolic disease. And another woman may say, I do feel better, but when I think about the risk of the breast cancer and the thromboembolic risk, it's not worth it. So the differences in value and preference, woman one, very high value and feeling better, lower value on avoiding the breast cancer or thromboembolism. Woman number two, not so high value and feeling better, and a higher value in avoiding the increase in breast cancer and thromboembolic risk. So bottom line is exactly the same evidence. The choices will differ because of different values and preferences.
So that's very interesting too, because sometimes I have the impression that what is on the table is the values and preferences of the physician, fears of the physician, like, oh no, this is like breast cancer risk, and I wouldn't do it. Do you have any comments here?
Well, there's this one great study. This is in patients with atrial fibrillation who have a higher risk of stroke. And the issue is, should they take anticoagulants? And the basic bottom line from the study was the patients were much more stroke averse. They were ready to take bleeding risks. The clinicians were less stroke averse and more bleeding averse. So there's a perhaps simple explanation of that. The physicians see the bleeds they cause with their anticoagulants. They don't see the strokes that they prevented. And then somebody did another study, which was a nice one, to see how this plays out. And they took an Ontario database, and they said they looked at physicians who had witnessed in one of their patients a serious bleed on patients receiving anticoagulants in the last year. And then they looked at how many of their patients with atrial fibrillation were on anticoagulants. The people who had witnessed a recent bleed were less likely to prescribe anticoagulants.
Availability bias, right? What do you call it?
What I call it is that we are influenced by our experience.
Yes.
And if we've seen a bleed That's salient on our minds. But if you're evidence-based about it, just because I've seen to bleed does not influence the likelihood that my next patient is going to have a bleed.
Good, very good.